philosophy major with a religion minor, and she spent her summer in Erlanger, Kentucky, at Passionist Nuns, working on growing social media and website usages while completely submersed in the community there. So.
What purpose do nuns serve? They really don't have any purpose. They're very far removed from the world. But they don't serve a purpose. They serve a person. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Carter Heller. I'm a philosophy major here at Berea. And I spent 8 weeks fully immersed with nuns. I mainly used my phone for social media. I tried to keep off of it as much as I could. Used my laptop to do their websites. And stayed off of everything. So, I have 2 key things that I want you all to take away from, and I'm just going to go ahead and point out. Embrace your failures and see where you're growing, and be docile. So how did I find my internship? How did I end up with nuns? So I wanted in my internship to support my values, to stretch my understanding, and to use my entrepreneurial skills that I learned last summer. So first off, I started with the Sisters of Life, which is a community up in New York City. And they support young women who become pregnant and don't really have any support system. I got an internship with them, but they needed somebody for 3 weeks, and Berea College has a minimum of 8 weeks. Next place I went was the Susan B. Anthony List, which is a pro-life organization that focuses on law. I know I'm a philosophy major. A lot of people say philosophy goes so well with law. I don't like law. So I didn't want to do that for a summer. And then my last one that I kind of was just like, okay, I guess I'll do that, was Students for Life of America. I worked with this organization since my sophomore year of high school, and they are the largest run student pro-life organization within the U.S., if not the world. And their president, who knows me well, said that I'm basically one of her regional coordinator who gets paid, except I'm not paid. So I just went ahead and marked that off my list because it didn't stretch my understanding. So then I went back to my experience at the Monastery of the Sacred Passion in Erlanger, Kentucky. When I was there, then I felt a real sense of peace. And I've been discerning, which means I've been thinking about becoming a nun since probably like 2nd or 3rd grade. So we'll get into that more as we go along. But I thought, why can't I go back there and help them out with their social media and their website, because they've already told me that I could say this. It was trash. It really was. They're older women. They didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know the market. And I could discern my vocation while I was there. So I keep on saying the word passionist. You guys, I don't think anybody in here has really had much of an experience with a nun. So a passionist is a type of nun who focuses solely on the passion of Christ and embracing that memory. So the Passion of Christ is from like the Garden of Gethsemane, so where Jesus is, like the night before his death to his crucifixion, and it's keeping that memory alive is their entire purpose. Because there is so much love within that one day that they want to bring that out into the world. And if you guys want to talk about that, I can bring it up afterwards, just like in like private meeting. So this is their daily life. The yellow is times of prayer, and then the green is our times of work or study. I went over this presentation with somebody, and they said they would be exhausted through this day. And I was. And I would fall asleep in prayer a lot. But the nuns told me one thing that a priest had actually said. The priest said, why can the dog not fall asleep at the master's feet? Because we are the dogs. Why can we not fall asleep? So, what was my role while I was there? I had a twofold role since I was living in there, which I had never had before, and I was also interning. So with my living in, then I was working on learning the divine office. I was living the life of the nuns. I was taking classes daily, and then I was also doing their daily work. And then as an intern, I was revamping their website and their Facebook, and completely created them a new Instagram. So let's break those all down. The divine office, for those of you who don't know, is based in true Jewish traditions of when the Jews would come to the synagogue to pray the Psalms. So they would pray Psalms, and throughout Catholic tradition, we've incorporated readings from the New Testament as well as readings from saints and church fathers and popes. So the nuns gather 5 times at this monastery. At others, it's up to 7 or 8 times a day, sometimes in the middle of the night, like in this picture. The power went out, and there was like, let's just not pray compliment. I was like, we have phones, they have flashlights on them, let's use them. So that's what we did. And with my classes, this was a book on discerning religious life. I read books by St. Paul of the Cross, who was the founder, the Catechism of the Catholic Church, and then other books on saints. And then these post-it notes, they come from each of the divine offices. Just different psalms that resonated with me or different readings. It can be so bold as take courage or something that I thought would look pretty in one of my future calligraphies, and I still have all these post-its. And then my daily work. A convent is just like any other household. You have to do dishes, you have to take out the trash, you have to do laundry, etc. But then their main thing that they do as form of work is making hosts. So for those of you who don't know what a host is, it's what Catholics receive underneath. It is the species of what, I don't want to get into a theological concept. So it's the bread before it turns into Jesus for Catholics. Very simply taken. That can be another thing that we can talk about later. But so we would make the batter, we would bake them. I'm baking in this picture right here. And then I'm bagging them because they make over 7 million a year, if I remember correctly. And then what did I do technologically? We revamped their website. They didn't have any of these here. They just had this welcome page. And that was it. They didn't have any place to go for a young woman thinking about joining. They didn't have anything about their community. So as somebody who's been interested in religious life since 2nd or 3rd grade, I've researched a lot of websites. I know what works, I know what doesn't work. So I used that experience for this. And then we created well, they already had a Facebook page. They had 3,000 likes already, but there hadn't been a post since 2014. So that was terrible. And so for those of you who don't know, Facebook and Instagram are linked together. So it's super nice when you're making a post. I would usually make it on my phone on Instagram and just have it sent over to Facebook. Super easy. And then the Vatican wants the nuns to become more educated with the Catholic faith and with Italian, so for more communication. And one of the main things with being a cloister community, they don't want to go out to a college because it completely disrupts their day-to-day life. So there are so many great online resources. I showed them this one, which is Formed. It's like a Catholic Netflix. There are videos on there. There are classes that you can take. There are books that you can read, audiobooks. And then they all have smartphones, so I downloaded Duolingo for each of them, and they practice 5 minutes of Italian each day. So going back to the website, we had a significant growth, as you can see. We had 280 and went up to 821. So a unique visitor is one IP address. So it's not like I log onto the website on Monday, then I go back on Tuesday, and that counts as two people. It's that one person continually if they come back to the site multiple times. And I collected all this data since they were using the platform Squarespace. And it collects all the data for you, and I just had to jot it down each week. So with that, I also collected the source of where it was coming from, the viewers. Google dropped, which is what I wanted it to do. The social media is growing, and it still is. And then direct went up. At first, I didn't know why. But as I did more research, I realized that was because people were communicating about it. It was becoming almost a household name. Not really, because there's a small community of nuns. But people were talking about it. So that was good. So that was a success. Now, how did I apply the entrepreneurial mindset through all of this? Well, there's lots of different ways. First, I embraced uncertainty and ambiguity. From just waking up in the morning, not knowing what I was going to do, because I wasn't told what I was going to do in my work until 5 minutes beforehand. And for those of you who know me, I have a planner that has 30 minutes tracked out for each. I have my whole day planned. So that was not like me. the big ambiguity of what am I doing with my life. Because about a year ago I started realizing, wait, maybe I don't want to be a nun. So since like a second grade girl, and like that's like your entire dream, what you have planned. For those of you who don't know me, I have Google Docs planned like 50 different ways, but all of them always had religious life in it, and there was not one without it. So I've deleted all of them, and now I'm just going off the whim of it. So I'm being docile. Yeah. So at the convent, I learned about the virtue of docility, which is being founded like a tree with roots, founded in truth, and then being like the upper part, being able to move to the will of God, which I think is applicable to everybody. So basically know yourself, but be able to move to where life is throwing you, because we all know life is crazy. And then I recognized an opportunity with this internship. I was able to help myself discern my life, and then I was also able to help the nuns with their web usage because they didn't have any. And then mobilizing resources and advocating change. Earlier I mentioned about the host room. While I was working down there, I realized that they were underselling their product. So I asked if I could do a cost of production. They were in the red for half of their products that they were selling, and that's their main source of income. So we know that's not good. So I'm a philosophy major. I don't do math. With my formula that I created, there was one number that I had off, so then I had to do it all over again, which is just life. And then I had to go present this to a group of nuns who, this was actually an issue a couple years ago within the community, and they all thought. But they didn't have any numbers to back it up. They just thought that they might be in the red, but they didn't know. So until I came along and said, can I do the math? Then they just kind of let it go. So now they're charging like $1 more than Kavanaugh, which is the big mass-producing host maker. But they're a small business. There are 3 people working down in the host room. And it's nuns making it. Who doesn't want nuns to make their Eucharist? So how did I embrace failure and see where I was growing? Like I said before, I don't want to be a nun anymore. In the Catholic culture, sometimes when you come out of the convent, then it can be seen as negative that you left, because they always say you could have tried harder. But it's kind of like when you leave a job because it's not working for you, or when like you decide, like with an internship, that this isn't where I'm supposed to be. So I know that I grew a lot through this internship. I'm up here talking about it. So what's next for me? Next summer, I have a confirmed internship with Father Tad Beholchek of the National Catholic Bioethics Center. Father Tad is a bioethicist and a neurosurgeon, and he's been one of my role models for a long time. So when I reached out to him and got this internship, I was super stoked, because he's one of the sweetest fellows, and I get to go to Philadelphia. So, does anybody have any questions and answers? Yeah, that's me.
So my question is, do you think you learned more from your internship just working with the nuns, or more of the social media aspect?
Not that much from the social media, because for those of you who don't know, I had a 16,000 follower meme page on Facebook. I sold it recently. But, yeah, I kind of knew the social media stuff. That was kind of just so I could do it for an internship for the college. My main reason was, do I want to be a nun? That was basically what my internship was. Yeah.
Why don't you want to be a nun?
Well, okay, short version is I'm a people pleaser, and I realize that people have been telling me my entire life that I should be a nun. So I thought, maybe I can do this. So then I thought about doing it. I went and tried it. It's not for me. It's still a beautiful vocation, though. Yeah.
What would you say the most important aspect of your internship was?
Like I said, docility, being able to move. Just like in day-to-day life, you never know what's going to be thrown at you, and be able to move with that. With like what Natalie said, when you're given an opportunity, go for it. If I can say anything for an incoming freshman, it's take any opportunity that you get at this college, apply for everything. We don't have very much time, but we'll make time for that. It looks good on a resume and it's good for life experience too. Yeah.
Okay, so when you're working with nuns, like, were they very, like, stern, and was it just like, I don't know, when I think of nuns, I just think of really sad stuff in horror movies, but when they let
It is not a good application. Okay, so do you see this nun in the middle right here?
Yes.
That's Sister Michelle. She sat next to me at dinner every night, and she is very ornery. She and I would play Get Your Last. Do you guys know what that is?
No.
Can I use you guys?
Yeah,
Got Your Last. And then you just tag each other back and forth.
got
And
last.
Sister Grace, who sits at the end of the table, she would say, "Children," over and over at us. So, no, they aren't stern at all. These are my dogs, by the way. They came for a visit.
Oh.
Yes.
So I've got to ask the sustainable business model, okay? So we have, I think were there 8 nuns?
6.
6? So what's the future for this group? What's the role of social media in being able to reveal the benefit of this group to, the term is nascent, no, what's the term for initiates?
Novitiates, postulates.
Got it. Yeah, so talk to us a little bit about that challenge as you've seen it.
Well, okay, so Rome, these nuns are at a very, very detrimental point in their community. There's 6 of them. And if one of them dies, then they all have to separate. Rome has declared within the Passionists have declared, because they're a big branch, but they're one community, this community is. If a community goes below 5 fully professed individuals, then they have to separate. And to be fully professed, it can take up to 9 years. So let's say I did want to become a nun, and I entered this Sunday. One of those people could die in that time. And then everybody would still have to separate. One of my things, when I went to this community, I thought maybe I could save it, because I knew what was going on. But once I heard that, Sister Grace right here, she was in the hospital 3, if not 4 times while I was there in 8 weeks. Mother Superior was in the hospital while I was there multiple times as well. I don't see a future for this community, quite honestly. I did what I could, but it's a terrible thing, but that's what happens. But that's not the end of Catholic nuns. This representation for Catholic nuns is not good. There is a group out in Missouri that just had 18 young women enter this year. They have 50 people and they are growing. They're starting a new foundation. There is a revival starting. They just didn't catch on soon enough. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
So I hear you say that you don't want to become a nun, but you also say that you're excited to like do an internship in Philadelphia for a church or something. I wonder like what do you want to explore, or what do you want to do in the future?
Yeah, so the organization that I'll be working with is the National Catholic Bioethics Center, and it's affiliated with the Catholic Church, but it's basically a group for bioethicists who are Catholic to come together. I want to become a bioethicist. I'm looking at grad schools right now. I'm planning on doing that. I don't know if I want to go into more of the political side or if I want to go more into the healthcare side, because I could do either. My path lines me up more for the political side. But I want to help people, and we all know that I'm Catholic at this point. I want to use my faith to be able to help people. I work with beginning of life issues, I work with end of life issues. What I really am fascinated in right now is the genetic research that's going on, because there's so many bioethical questions with that. And that's just something that's always fascinated me, so that's where I kind of want to hone in.
Sorry for this dumb question. What is bioethics?
It's basically, the simplest way to say this is, we can do this biologically, like we can make a child that has 5 different parents, but should we be doing that?
Question.
Yeah, it's, should we be doing this with science?
Thank you, Carter.